It's been like a couple years, bro.
I'd say like maybe 4 years. I think four, good
3 years.
4 or 5 years, bro.
Yeah. It was like during COVID time or maybe after, I would say. Like the
Yeah,
year
it was like
after.
depends where you were in the world. Like obviously COVID in Germany, I was playing in Germany at the time, and then
Yeah.
obviously they were on and off with that stuff in it. So it's just
Yeah.
annoying. That messed up everything, man. But I think I found my path now, so it's all good, man.
What are you doing now? You're based in the UK, and what's your
Yeah.
main focus now?
I do obviously when I stopped playing football in 2022, like professionally, and then
Yeah.
that's when I went to play like, well, I just went to play with my friends really, just as a
Yeah.
kickabout, and then after that, went into things outside of football. Like I got my own cleaning business now. I'm in construction business. I do
Beautiful.
other things as well. Like you got, I know you're in crypto and stuff, innit?
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, stuff like that. And then I just said like to myself, you know what, like a year ago, like kind of miss football. Let me get back playing football locally, non-league, and then this baller league come up. And then now that's just a different avenue, isn't it? It's just
That's amazing, bro. Yeah. I think now for me, actually, I mean, I've always been with my company, Grande Sports, been training players. I've been expanding the online portion a little bit more, right? So now I have that match analysis services where like players just send me their games weekly. We
mhm.
review together every single week, right? So like they send it to me on a Sunday, Monday. We meet like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, review it, and then they have like certain takeaways to apply that weekend, right? And then we could see it like slowly but surely how they're starting to think differently.
Yeah,
Because when you watch matches, you know when a player's actually thinking or just reacting to whatever's happening, right?
yeah.
Especially here in the States, like I have a lot of young players that just don't,
They
they
don't
just
get it.
they just play, you
Yeah.
know? And when you add the thinking aspect, they can
Mhm.
now play the way they want a little bit more, right? And
Mhm.
you know is when it's just like you're a step ahead of the opponent, like you can do your thing a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing. Crypto, obviously, the markets are like tanking right now. I'm not even looking, man. I just like, hey, I'm
Yeah.
gonna take a break, a little break, touching grass, enjoying the weather down here, and then I've been playing too. I played TST this past
Yeah, seeing that, man. Seeing that. I'm trying to play. I think I got a call up for the summer myself, you know.
yeah.
So I think they're gonna call me to play for West Ham. So
Oh, that'd be huge, bro. That'd be.
yeah.
I'm definitely gonna play next year again. I have two potential teams that I can go to,
Mm.
uh, but obviously nothing concrete.
Hmm.
And and as you saw, the Baller League is coming here to the States,
Yeah.
and I saw that you were doing it in the UK. So I'm like, yo, let me see if you know anybody here because I'm trying to play that too. You know?
Yeah. I just got to think because obviously there's a media guy I worked with in Canada, and he asked me the same question to get him like involved in America. It's
Yeah,
just that I don't. I know a lot of people behind the scenes in Baller League. I just don't know who does what job. So I need
yeah,
to find out who does what job for what, and I'll definitely ask them on Monday because every Monday we play. I'll ask them for both of you about different departments, like player wise. How do you? I don't want obviously they're gonna be like, oh, just trial, go for the trials or whatever. But like,
yeah,
I want an actual solidified contact who I can talk to on a real and be like,
yeah.
yeah, I got my guy over in the States who obviously you got the CV, you got the know-how with the social media, and I think that helps. To be
Yeah.
honest, they
I've
look
noticed
at that
that too.
like,
A lot of the obviously social media plays a big role,
mm,
and if you have big social media following and you know somewhat how to play football, they'll consider you.
exactly,
But don't want to say anything, but some of the content creators, they haven't played like
yeah,
at a certain level that you'd be like,
mm,
oh, right, this guy's a baller.
yeah, yeah. Now you tick a lot of boxes for them, man. Like you took a lot of boxes, so they would be more than willing to accommodate you. I
Yeah,
don't know where. I think it might be in Miami.
it
You
is.
can.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be here. So I'm just like, who can I contact? And
Mm,
obviously can't like message Speed directly. You
yeah,
know what I mean? impossible. So I'm trying to figure it out here as well, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, everything's been good, bro.
Yeah,
Fam-
yeah, everything's good, man. Just obviously this season, Baller League, I'm on the same team as last year, but a different name and a different manager. And obviously there's been a few things past couple of weeks I haven't played, but I think next week I'll be in, so it's all good.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think today's conversation, obviously just trying to make some content,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we should just discuss different things. Right?
100%. There's so many
Uh,
different things, man. So many.
so
And
I don't know if you have any ideas of like what primarily you want to talk about. I have a couple.
yeah,
Um,
same.
Primarily like to target my audience more than anything, it's more like getting your thoughts and the way you think as a
Mm,
player competing at a high level and
mm,
what you to prepare for those moments, right? And
mm,
I think what a lot of players resonate with is like, even though you're a pro and even though you've been in these high pressure situations, yeah,
mm,
sometimes you might get nervous. Sometimes
mm.
your confidence is like at an all-time high. Sometimes it dips a little bit, but you're still showing up regardless, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you could touch a little bit more on that. Like, what is your game day routine? How do you prep for the week? What are some things that you say to yourself to make sure that you show up on match day like at
Mm-hmm.
an optimal level?
100%. 100%. I could touch on all of that, man. You recording?
Yeah, record.
Okay, so for me personally, obviously, when I was playing in my career, I maybe took a few things for granted that I actually had the time and I was getting paid to just play football. So I think all your allocated time, not all of it, but a lot of it, you're getting paid to play football at the end of the day. So you have the tools there to make it work, and also you have the club at your disposal. You know, you're working with some high end people in their fields, whether that be physios, whether that be video analysts, whether that be coaches in some cases. So you have the ability to use them, and I think maybe I felt like maybe I could have used a lot of people a lot more. But coming away from full-time football and still playing football as I do now, obviously you have different things that come in your day-to-day life, and obviously you have to juggle it.
Yeah.
Many people watching this, they probably play football part-time, and it's not their full-time job. So I think, yeah, I took that a little bit for granted, but then I've used that, in my past experiences now in
Yeah.
the present, and I'm able to allocate my time wisely. I think recovery is a big thing. I think you've got to invest in yourself because you being able to get up for the next game and being able to be at your best, I think you'll be a step ahead of a lot of other players where they might be putting that to the side and they might not be taking that as seriously. And everyone's on similar schedules if you're playing in the same league, for example. So if you play on a Saturday in England, a lot of the times you play on a Tuesday. So that time period between those two games is very vital to recover. And probably the quickest person to recover is going to have the most likelihood of playing the better game. So I'd say I've invested heavily into recovery, and I've taken that a lot more seriously. Obviously, since I've kind of stopped playing full time, which is ironic, where I should have put more time into it when I was actually playing full time. But in terms of touching on other things that you mentioned as well, like dealing with pressure, dealing with people watching you. I think when it's 11 aside, you got to remember that you have 10 other teammates as well. So
Mhm.
it's a team game, and obviously you want to do well as your career, your individual, you're self-centered in that way. But I think the more you kind of put emphasis and pressure on your performance, probably it's not good for a lot of people. So I'll just say, as long as you've shown it in recent weeks and you know that, okay, I've been doing this in training, like I'm on form, you know. I'm
Yeah.
I'm doing what I need to do. I think it will come naturally if you don't overthink it.
Yeah, yeah. What when you say you don't overthink it, do you think that stems from like the confidence that you've had throughout the week? Like that allows you to not overthink?
Yeah, I think obviously everyone is different, but me personally, if I've had a good week in training, because training, to be honest, you can try anything. Like I know the coach more time might be a bit rigid and say, okay, I want you to play in this type of way, stop doing this, or do more of that. But naturally you can try different things in training, and more time than not, when you do it in training, it's gonna come off. You're gonna do things that you're thinking, well, I can actually do that. Like, I don't know, maybe it might be you're a winger and you're playing on the left and you're right-footed, and you always want to come inside to, I don't know, either 1-2 or cross or shoot. But in training, you say, this week, you know what, I'm just gonna go on the outside of the defender to make him think a little bit more, and then I'm gonna cross it on my left foot. I think most people can do it, you know what I mean? It's just that having that mental, going over that mental, block in your head. I think
Trying it.
exactly, if you do it in training, I think you could do it in a game. Obviously a game is very much more intense, but I think if you have the confidence in training, just have the belief that you could do it in a game.
Yeah. So you played striker, yeah?
Yeah.
As a striker, I'm going to assume that your objective is to try and score every single game, right?
Yeah.
How do you deal with those goal scoring droughts? Like, how did you deal with that in your career? Maybe to this day, like when you went 2-3 games without scoring, what would you tell yourself? How would you get over it? What would you do differently in the following week?
I think, to be honest, a lot of the time, strikers, obviously you learn this as you get older with more experience, but strikers forget that you're actually a player on the pitch. I think a lot of the time, teams and coaches and even fans, they treat the striker as like something away from the team, but you're actually part of the team. You're involved in the game. So as long as you're having a good game, I think, to be honest, that's where you get your confidence. When you're getting your touches, when the ball's coming up to you, you're holding the ball, you're making it stick, you're setting it right, your runs are right as well, you're getting the chances, then I think ultimately it's gonna come. You can never go away from thinking that, I'm not scoring, or it's not really happening for me at the moment. I think if you just keep doing the right things, I think ultimately it's gonna come. Like just anything in life, after bad periods there always will be good periods. So I think just having that faith in yourself and just keep doing the right things. I think, yeah, if you're involved in the game, I think that would be a lot more beneficial for you. But if you're not really involved in the game, I think that's when you probably get a bit less confident. That's where you start making mistakes in other areas where the ball might come up to you and your touch is not right, or you might have I don't know, even as a striker, you can have a chance to make a through ball, but yeah, it doesn't come off. So
I love that. I love that you touch on that you're still involved in the team, right? So I know a lot of times like strikers, their objective is to score goals, but at the same time, I believe that strikers need to understand that they're also an outlet for their teammates whenever we're, for example, getting pressed heavy. Like, are you moving into the right spaces? Are you checking in at the right time? Are you making a running behind, etc.? Like whatever, depending on the situation is. So I think that's very important that you touched on that, because I think it's not just get in the box and score. That's one of many things that I think strikers should do, but still, it's still very important to still be heavily involved in the match. My next question for you, Jordan, is there a moment in your career that, like a big lesson, you learned a big lesson, something happened, you learned about it, and then it kind of like reshaped the way you think as a player? Is there one moment that you can think of that where like you were like, oh, all right, it clicks now?
yeah, there's a few moments. I would say probably ironically, it's probably my last professional club 3 years ago. and I was playing for a club in Canada called Pacific, and they signed me midway through the season, probably back end of the season, pretty much. And they signed me based on what they saw, I think, the season before that, and maybe the couple seasons before that. And they were in love with the way I played and everything like that. But for some reason, I don't know. I think some of my experiences, because I played in different places and under different coaches, I kind of changed the way I played a little bit. Where I think you shouldn't change the way you play. You should just add to what you're already doing. You know what I mean? You should just add little pieces here and there, but you should never change your identity, because once you change your identity, you lose yourself completely, and you're just playing in something that you're like, you didn't grow up playing as, you know what I mean? So if your thing as a striker is to running behind, always keep that as a striker, running behind. If your thing is, okay, I'm waiting for the ball to get crossed into the box and I'm gonna, overpower my center back and, be the one to head it in, then that's your game. You know what I mean? So I think never change your identity. I think that is something that hit me late. And I think that's probably, everyone says, oh, you don't have regrets or whatever. But if I could change something, I would say stay true to myself and the way I play and do it my way. Even though maybe the team might not be gelling towards the way I play or my style, but I think after a while they'll get it. I think never go towards the other way and kind of go towards them and try do something that you don't really like doing or you're not comfortable doing. So I think I would probably say that, to be honest.
I love that, because I always speak with a lot of players about being self-aware, identifying their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, knowing what they bring to the table. So, for example, if you're that target man striker or you're the striker that runs in behind, don't try to be the other one. Can you add that to your game? For sure. But, like 80%, 70% of your game is this. That should be who you identify as majority of the times. Would you say that your style has, before that point, you had a certain identity? How did you add like different parts into your game? Was it like having conversations with your coach when they were asking you to do something different? Was it you just recognizing like, oh shoot, like I can do this too? What do you think was the majority of that happening for you?
Yeah, as a player, you're always going to have flaws, especially playing at a certain level, unless you're, elite. And even the elite players, they still have flaws. You see Salah, for example, he rarely goes on the outside and crosses the ball on his right foot, for example, or, he's not like the most technically gifted player, but he knows what he's good at. So he knows how to be the most effective Mo Salah in the game. So I think, I learned my weaknesses through what my coaches would tell me, and that probably would stick with me too much, So I'd be too zoned in on, oh, I need to work on this, and oh, I need to get better at this. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, you do, but like I said before, you can't change the way you are as a person and your whole makeup, as a player. So I think, yeah, learning that and then working on it after training. And I think, yeah, if you put too much emphasis on it, like I said, then it'll just stick in your head and you'll be like, okay, next time, that I had a problem with, for example, I'm strong, I can use like I'm a strong player, but I didn't really know how to use my body that well. So like it was kind of affecting the way I played a little bit, because every time the ball would come up to me, I'd make sure like I hold the ball, like, and I was always overthinking like, oh, I've got to make sure I hold the ball and use my body in a type of way. But I think I learned like just after that period, okay, I can still learn how to do that, but maybe it's like the timing of the run into the space. Maybe don't just stand there and wait for the ball to come to you, because then the defender's going to go through the back of you. So I think just learning your weaknesses and how to kind of go around that, then I think, yeah, that's probably That's probably how I learned, to be honest.
I love that. I love that. I want to also know, like, you've played at a very high level. You've played with top quality players. In your opinion, what separates those great players from the ones that maybe don't get to play at that high level? Like, what's the small detail or the big detail that those players have that maybe a semi-pro amateur doesn't? Because the talent could be somewhat similar,
Mm.
but for some reason, some players don't make it to that top level. What do you think? Why do you think, from your
Um,
experience?
if you're comparing like lower level to like high level, obviously there's levels in football. So there's even levels when you're playing at the highest level.
Yes.
And there's differences where which things they do compared to what the average player at that level does, right?
Yeah.
So, but if you're specifically asking about like lower tier players, like playing at a lower level compared to like high level, I would just say the basics, to be honest. Like their basics is it's every single pass, it's every single play, it's every single touch, movement. Everyone knows what to do. You know what I mean? And I think it's very hard and very difficult to play against that. Like, let's say, for example, you're playing against a team that's lower down in the table, a team that's come up, like, let's say Burnley, for example.
Yeah.
If you're playing against Burnley and you haven't really got any magic about you, then it would be hard to break them down because they all move in sync and they're all not programmed, they're all regimented to do the manager's tactics, and they're gonna take it like that. They're gonna know exactly what to do, and they're not really gonna get fatigued. You know what I mean? If let's say you're moving it side to side, it's not fast enough. You're trying to break them down, it's not gonna work. You know what I mean? They work on that every single day, and they're intelligent players. But I would say, obviously, if you're talking about higher level, I'd say players do have that magic, and they can create something out of nothing. And it's like, let's say, compared to a boxing fight, you know, you get to the 10th, 11th round, and you think, yeah, like this boxer, he's cruising, like he might win, but you always wonder, like, nah, this other guy, he's got the punch in the bag, like you can let it out at any time. And I think that's a comparison to those top players where at any moment, if you're sleeping, they'll hurt you, they'll punish you, and they're waiting for that moment, and they don't get discouraged or frustrated that it's not working. They're breaking you down constantly. They're grinding you down, and then
They just
before
locked
you
in
know it,
90 minutes, huh?
exactly. Before you know it, it's like boom, 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 and the ball's in the back of your net.
I would 100% agree with the basics and the fundamentals is just so sharp. Every single pass, every single movement, everybody knows what to do. Everything is executed like at this top level. I would also like add on the level of detail in their concentration for that, like the moments, right? Like it's crazy because it's like playing against top players. They know It's like they know the answer or they have the answer for every given situation that they're in. Right. And like you said, even though, they might get frustrated, or whoever is trying to trying to frustrate them, they stay calm under pressure and they just make it happen. So that's awesome. That's an awesome little detail to notice. My next question for you is, what is something that most people don't see in a footballer's lifestyle? Like, we all know that footballers are always training. Footballers are taking care of their bodies, but something that maybe is not talked about enough that you can remember.
Obviously, I would say that if you're not on it, like I said, if you don't recover properly, if your diet's not right, if you're not locked in, especially nowadays as well, especially how fit you have to be, how athletic you have to be, I think that will catch up on you. So I think I've seen countless players fade away because they're not locked in 24/7 in their regime, and maybe it might be alcohol, late nights,
Yeah.
dietary issues, and you see in the NBA as well. So
Yeah.
I think that side of things, a lot of people don't see. Obviously, people assume that top level players are always going to be regimented in the way they do things, and now it's a lot easier because the club provide pretty much everything for you, and
Yeah.
probably 50% of the time you're probably at the club or traveling, or you're at a game or training, for example. So you'll get that given to you, but obviously there is some downtime, and in that downtime it's like, what do?
Exactly.
You go out and look for the woman, or are you more locked in and you're thinking, nah, I got training tomorrow, I need to
Yeah.
be on it, because every little percentage counts, you know what I mean? And it's a domino effect, it all adds up in the end. So over a period of time, it does catch up on you if you aren't locked in and you don't
I
stay focused. So I would say that.
I feel like a lot of people, a lot of fans, and people that aren't in the industry in football tend to forget that footballers are also like people. They're
Yeah.
regular everyday people that just happen to have football as their job, right?
Mm.
And they love the same things that a normal person loves, right?
Yeah.
I know specifically a good friend of mine, professional player, played at a really high level. He's still playing currently. He was like, Miguel, after every match, I have to have McDonald's.
Yeah.
But it's only after game day, right? Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
anybody hears that and they're like, what? A pro player eating McDonald's? That's so bad for you. Why would they do that? But
Yeah.
then again, in a match, you're burning an insane amount of calories.
Yeah.
So, obviously you want to have a nutritious meal after, but at the same time, like, hey, you know yourself, you know your body. That might
Yeah.
help you feel, mentally sane and feel good in that moment. Then you go back to your routine. I
Yeah.
had
As
a
long.
teammate of mine as well that I don't know how he did it, but would always love to eat like little junk food,
Mm.
M&M, Skittles, Hershey bars, Reese's, candy here and there. Come game day and training, hey, it's like nothing. He's out here,
Mm.
really talented player, but his routine, you know, anybody looking at it be like, hey, kind of questionable. But it's crazy
Yeah.
how I think that's where it comes in, where like players need to just understand themselves, right? Understand themselves and just take care of themselves for whatever works for them.
No, 100%. A lot of players, it's well documented, like Eden Hazard, for example, the way he trained and ate and etc. etc. I think it's just, it matters who you are. If you're the average kind of guy and you've always had to work hard to get to where you've got to, then if you kind of go away from that, then I think that's when it's going to hurt you. But if you're one of the talented ones and it's just natural for you, I think, yeah, you can go away from the traditional orthodox route and regime, to be honest. But it depends, like I said, who you are. Like,
Yeah.
most players, you're gonna have to do the right things at the right time, otherwise it will definitely hurt you. But like you said, McDonald's after games, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean, you've already burnt that off during the game. But yeah, I'd say for most people, yeah, then you probably need to get back on it during the week.
All right, Jordan, my last question for you. What's a piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
I kind of touched on it a little bit. I don't want to say that answer though, because it's like I want to give a different answer. But I'll definitely say stay true to your identity as a player. A lot of coaches are gonna come in and think they're Pep Guardiola and try to change you. I think obviously you gotta take little bits from different coaches and add that together to kind of make the end product of yourself. However, I think you do have to stay true to yourself, to get the best out of you, because at the end of the day, you've been doing this, or most people have been doing this since they were like 5, 6, 7 years old, and you have your identity and your style of play, and to change that, it's a lot of work to undo. it's a lot of habits to undo as well. So I think never fully change the way you are as a player. I would just say just add to it. Another piece of advice I can give is obviously recovery. Take that very seriously. Make sure that you invest in yourself, because I think you'll get greater returns in actually investing in yourself, because you might not see it now, and you might say, oh, like I'm spending this much money on Normatec boots, or you got the ice. I think it might be called Normatec as well. The ice, you put your foot in the ice. Yeah, I can't remember what the machine is called. Or like stretching bands, or like going to the gym and doing your prehab, for example, like those things, so you don't get injured, MCL, ACL injuries, for example. So I'd say to make sure you lock in and make sure you pay attention to like the recovery side of things. I would also say know yourself, believe in your ability. A lot of the times, you'll face, moments in your career where you're not as confident, and you're not as, you're not in your self-belief mode, where you're like, okay, anything I can do today, I can hit this ball first time on the volley outside the box. A lot of the time, a lot of players, they kind of shy away from it because they're like, it might go over the bar, I might scuff it, I might not get good technique, I'm not on form right now. But I think if you always have that belief that, you've put in the hours and the training for these kind of moments, then I think that's kind of what lets a lot of people down, and they don't show their true self on the pitch. So I'll say those three things to take away, to be honest.
Well, Jordan, hey, those are fantastic answers. I think any young footballer listening to this should really take that in. Listen from an experienced player like yourself that has played at the high level, that has competed with top players. Definitely is something that younger players need to apply to their game. And not even younger players, even a little bit older as well. That especially, I know for a fact here, the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds that are, already playing and maybe getting their foot in the door, they still need to learn these little things, right? You're still young somewhat in the industry. So it's very important just to keep maintaining that like level throughout your career. So I really appreciate those answers, Jordan. Again, I appreciate you for joining the call, and it was great to speak with you again, brother.
No stress. That was my pleasure. My pleasure, man. Good to be back.
We'll definitely be talking again soon, brother. All right?
Yes, man.
Take care.
Yes.